Hey, my name is Jackie. I'm a senior product manager over release management here at GitLab. And I wanted to take a couple of minutes to talk a little bit about jobs to be done and how it helps me as a product manager prioritize and look at the maturity of my product line. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and introduce the jobs to be done and what they are for release management. So jobs to be done help you understand what your users are hoping to accomplish inside your platform. They also allow you to look at something generically without thinking about how a particular product or solution addresses that need. This allows you to holistically consider the user's experience, desires, wants, and drive a solution to their problem that will encourage their adoption and usage of your product. So the process of establishing a job to be done is usually when you review with a customer how they're currently using your product, or you interview a prospect about what they're hoping to accomplish. So when we zone in on release management, some of the challenges that release management is focusing on right now is about addressing all different types of release managers in GitLab, which includes technical build managers, non-technical release managers that are responsible for coordinating across multiple teams of varying technical experiences that may or may not be using GitLab as a single source of truth for the deployment of their product. And also understanding the project managers that would be coordinating different aspects of a release within that umbrella of release management. We also need to target non-cloud native deployments and allowing users to effectively track and execute deployments and releases without being a Kubernetes first organization. So the job to be done that I'll focus on here is about creating a release and updating it. So the job to be done is when I'm ready to deploy a change, I want to deploy to production state for customer consumption so I can get adoption of the product released. That is the generic statement that users are trying to accomplish when they use release functionality inside of GitLab. When we look at a job statement, this is the specific task or outcome that a user is looking to do. And I have the first one here. When tracking important deliverables in my project, I want to easily create and manage all related information for a software release so I can provide packaged software notes and files for people to use. This job to be done has nothing to do with GitLab. It is all about the process of people tracking and executing their process to effectively deploy to a production environment. And what we've done here is we graded their experience of doing this in GitLab, and we've created a maturity plan based off of that experience, which will help them deliver some better experiences when it comes to creating a packaged software note. So the first piece that we went through is grading the current execution of that job. And we found that there was a couple of different things that prevented them from effectively coordinating and releasing software in their product. By focusing on this job to be done, we were then able to define what would make the releases page viable. What are all the different pieces that would allow a user to effectively coordinate and orchestrate a deployment to create that software bundle, as well as release notes and files related to that bundle. So we were able to very quickly identify and knock out some quick wins, like allowing guest access, adding notifications, adding a button to edit a release in the UI, adding asset links. We also were able to identify that users really want to be able to support file uploading to releases. So this is the last component of the release page completion, being able to upload a release asset to an actual release object so that people can effectively download and distribute that deployment. That last piece will allow users to effectively adopt release management, and then they can begin to leverage the other benefits of our stage, including issue progress summaries. The release progress view could then link back to a runbook, and having the release page be the single source of truth for your release object. This issue right here of making it possible to edit a release using the UI was what introduced the release page to users. And this is what we basically graded as a part of that effort. And now we're layering a bunch of new functionality on the releases page. And when we look at the existing releases offering today, you have the option to create a release from this button. You can add different links to the release post. You're able to edit and add asset types, which is a really great benefit for users who are looking to connect and integrate their end-to-end plan with delivery inside of GitLab. We're also enhancing this milestone experience so that you can then associate a release to a group milestone, which will be particularly beneficial for GitLab's dog fooding. But this all goes back to using a job to be done and establishing what is the task that users are trying to render when they come to GitLab to manage their deployments. It's agnostic of GitLab, which allows you to think creatively and consider things like acquisitions or partners without being constrained by how something works today. When you go in with that clean slate of what is the user trying to do, you get to be super focused on how that user wants to actually do their job and what GitLab can do to make that job as easy as possible for them. I hope this was a useful video for you to learn about how I use jobs to be done and how product management, when they're focused on users and the user problem, are no longer constrained about how the solution works today. And that's super beneficial for people who are trying to innovatively address problems in the market.